I am sitting alone in my apartment on a Thursday night, staring at an engagement ring that is still resting on the coffee table where she left it. 3 days ago, I was excited to pick up my fiancée Jessica from the airport after her girls' trip to Miami. I had cleaned the entire place, bought her favorite flowers, and even planned to cook her favorite dinner. But the woman who walked through that door was not the person I thought I knew. And the words that came out of her mouth shattered my world in an instant. I thought we were planning our fall wedding. Turns out she was planning something completely different. Before I get into what happened, let me know in the comments where you are watching this from. If you have ever trusted someone completely only to have them blindside you, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure to subscribe because you will not want to miss how this story unfolds. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is choose your self-respect over love, and this is exactly what I had to learn. Let me take you back to how everything started. Jessica and I met 4 years ago at a company networking event downtown. She worked in marketing for a tech startup, and I was a software engineer at a different firm. The moment she walked into that room, I noticed her. She had this energy about her, the kind that made everyone around her feel alive. She was beautiful, sure, but it was more than that. She was smart, funny, and had this way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room when she talked to you. We hit it off immediately. Our first date was at this little Italian restaurant in the Pearl District. We talked for hours about everything from our favorite Marvel movies to our dreams of traveling the world. 2 weeks later, we were inseparable. Our relationship was the kind that felt easy. We would go hiking every weekend in the Columbia River Gorge, cook elaborate meals together on Sunday nights, and binge-watch entire series while eating way too much popcorn. 2 years into dating, I knew she was the one. We moved into a 2-bedroom apartment together in Northwest Portland. It had big windows that let in all this natural light and a little balcony where we would drink coffee on Saturday mornings. Life felt perfect. Every morning I would wake up and make coffee while she scrambled eggs. We had this routine down. She would leave for the office around 8:30 and I would start my remote workday. In the evenings we would cook together, talk about our days, and plan our future. 6 months ago, I proposed to her at Big Sur during a camping trip. We had hiked out to this spot overlooking the ocean right at sunset. The sky was this incredible mix of orange and pink, and when I got down on one knee, she cried and said yes before I could even finish asking. We started planning the wedding immediately. We booked a venue for October, designed save-the-date cards, and put down deposits on a photographer and florist. Everything was falling into place. We even planned our honeymoon 2 weeks in Italy, visiting Rome, Florence, and the Amalfi Coast. Then came the Miami trip. 5 of her college girlfriends had been planning this girl's weekend for months, 4 days and 3 nights in South Beach. I was actually the one who encouraged her to go. I told her, "You deserve to have fun with your girls. You have been stressed with work and wedding planning. Go relax, drink cocktails on the beach, and do not worry about anything here. I will hold down the fort." The first day she was there, we video called in the evening. She was glowing, telling me about the beach, the amazing seafood they had for lunch, and this rooftop bar where they watched the sunset. She seemed happy, genuinely happy. The second day, our call was shorter. She looked tired and said they had stayed out late the night before at some club. I told her to get some rest and that I loved her. She said she loved me too, but something in her voice felt distant. I brushed it off as exhaustion. Day 3, we only texted. She sent me a message saying, "Sorry babe, so tired, talk tomorrow." I replied with a heart emoji and told her to have fun. Day 4, there was no contact at all. I started to feel a little worried, but I told myself not to overthink it. She was on vacation with her friends. Of course, she was not going to be glued to her phone. When I picked her up from the airport, I brought those flowers and had the biggest smile on my face. But when she hugged me, something was off. The hug was brief, almost mechanical. There was no warmth in it. On the drive home, she stared out the window and barely said a word. When I asked how the trip was, she just said she was tired and wanted to get home. That night, she went straight to bed without eating the dinner I had made. I sat alone at the kitchen table eating pasta and wondering what I had done wrong. The next morning, I woke up to an empty bed. I found her in the living room already dressed, sitting on the couch with a cup of coffee in her hands. She was not drinking it, just staring at it like it held some kind of answer. I poured myself a cup and sat down next to her. I tried to keep my tone light and asked, how was the trip really? She looked at me with this expression I had never seen before. It was not sadness exactly. It was more like guilt mixed with determination. Then she said the 4 words that made my stomach drop. We need to talk. I set my coffee down. My hands were already shaking. She told me she had been thinking a lot during the trip. She said we were still young. She was 26 and I was 28, and maybe we should explore more before we got married. I was confused. Explore what? I asked. We have been together 4 years. We know each other inside and out. What is there to explore? She started talking about personal growth and finding ourselves. All these vague phrases that meant nothing and everything at the same time. I tried to stay calm. I asked if this was about work stress or wedding pressure. She shook her head and said it was not that. She just needed time to think more. But the way she said it, I could tell there was something she was not telling me. The next 2 days were strange. She was physically there, but emotionally gone. She spent hours on her phone, and whenever I walked into the room, she would angle the screen away from me. A few times I caught her smiling at something on her phone, this little secretive smile that made my chest tighten. When I asked who she was texting, she said it was just the Miami girls group chat. They were reminiscing about the trip. I tried everything to bring back the warmth between us. I cooked her favorite meal, chicken piccata with roasted vegetables. I suggested we watch the new season of that show we had been waiting for. She turned me down gently each time, saying she was tired or needed space. By the 3rd night, I could not take it anymore. I needed answers. That evening, I came home determined to have a real conversation. I found her sitting on the couch, dressed more carefully than she had been the past few days. It was like she had been preparing for this moment, too. She looked at me and said, "We need to talk." Again. But this time her voice was different. It was steady, like she had rehearsed what she was going to say. I sat down across from her, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. She took a deep breath and said, "I met someone in Miami." The room started spinning. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. But before I could say anything, she quickly added that it was not an affair. Nothing physical happened. It was just talking. His name was Damon. He was 32, worked in real estate, and apparently had his life together. They met at a beach club on the 2nd day. Her group of friends and his group started talking, and Jessica and Damon connected. She said they had the same taste in music, the same outlook on life, and it felt natural. Easy. She emphasized again that nothing happened physically. They just talked. But she felt something. I sat there trying to process this. Finally, I asked, "What do you want me to do with this information?" She said she wanted to be honest with me. That was important to her. I could feel anger rising in my chest, but I tried to keep my voice level. I said, "You are engaged. You should not be connecting with random guys at beach clubs." She got defensive immediately. She said she did not plan it. It just happened, and it made her realize something. I asked what it made her realize, even though part of me did not want to know the answer. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Maybe we moved too fast." Those words hit me harder than anything else she had said. I reminded her of everything. 4 years together. The proposal, she cried, happy tears over. The wedding we had been planning, the families who were excited for us, the deposits we had already paid. She started crying and said that was exactly why she was scared. She felt like we were following a script, like we were on autopilot toward marriage because that was what you were supposed to do after a certain amount of time. She said it felt like being trapped. I could not believe what I was hearing. I asked her, "I am a script, our relationship is a trap." She cried harder and said no, that was not what she meant. But she needed to know what else was out there. She needed to know if what we had was real or just comfortable. That night ended with her sleeping on the couch and me lying awake in our bed staring at the ceiling until the sun came up. The next 2 days we barely spoke. The apartment felt suffocating. Every time I walked into a room, she would leave. We ate separately. We existed in the same space but were miles apart. I kept thinking about her smiling at her phone, about Damon, about how she said she felt something. I thought about couples therapy. I thought about postponing the wedding. I thought about a million different ways to fix this. But deep down, I knew the truth. This was not something that could be fixed with therapy or time. She had already made her choice. She just had not told me yet. On the evening of the 5th day, after she got back from Miami, I came home early from work. I had decided we needed to have one final honest conversation. I needed to know exactly where we stood. She was sitting on the couch again in that same spot, looking like she had been waiting for me. Before I could say anything, she spoke first. She said she had been thinking a lot, and she thought she found a solution. For a split second, I felt a tiny bit of hope. Maybe she was going to suggest counseling. Maybe she was going to say she wanted to work through this. But then she said the words that would change everything. What if we try an open relationship? I thought I had misheard her. I said what she explained it like she was presenting a business proposal. We would not break up. We would still be a couple. We would still love each other, but we would allow each other to explore with other people. She said lots of modern couples do this. It is healthy for personal growth. We could try it for a few months and see how it goes. If it does not work, we stop. She even said she had been reading articles about open relationships and how they can actually strengthen bonds. I sat there completely frozen. It felt like I was watching this happen to someone else. This could not be my life. This could not be the woman I was going to marry. But it was. And suddenly everything became crystal clear. This was not about personal growth. This was not about exploration or modern relationships. This was about Damon. She wanted permission to pursue him while keeping me as a safety net. If it did not work out with him, she still had me.